This is IP, Nelly.
You can make NFT out of this Excel sheet.
I don't pay you, you work for me and you give me money.
24 hours a day, sleepless nights.
Earn your destiny.
You need to suffer.
Yeah.
Good day to everyone.
Very good.
Hello, and today we have very special interview with the new rising star in the DeFi market. The interview with two co-founders, two friends who know each other for years already. One lives in Germany, another one German lives in Switzerland. Ralf and Stan are co-founders of Scaleswap, the new generation layer 2 IDO platform for technological startups in DeFi and crypto space. Ralf, Stan, hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
Nelly.
Nice to be here. Thank you, Nelly.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot
for
for your
having us.
time. And your project, Scaleswap, raises interest from the audience, not only in Europe, but also from a lot of people in Asia. I've seen publications even in Latin American media about Scaleswap, the new rising star, etc. So can you please tell with your own words, what is Scaleswap for each of you, please?
Right. So Scaleswap, if you have a look, let's say, from a functionality perspective, it's like kind of a crowd investing platform for blockchain-based ventures, which have a certain maturity level, and right before they have their listing on a decentralized exchange. So you can imagine that a little bit like in the IPO world before listing on getting listed, let's say, on an exchange, but they are by far more mature, these ventures. But it's a little bit the same, let's say, the last accelerating step for these projects we are supporting, but we have plans that we will provide services much broader than our go-to-market product.
Yes, exactly. Right. Exactly. So this is what I want to say. This analogy with Kickstarter is important because Kickstarter is also for projects not too mature, right? There are a lot of ventures on Kickstarter which just started. They have success, but it's not like going to IPO. These are still startups. And so on our side, we are for very good blockchain projects, but which only starts.
And can you tell me three main differences of Scaleswap in comparison with existing IDO platforms? Because IDO platform itself is not the new thing. So what are the three core fundamental changes?
We are the first layer 2 platform, and with layer 2 we speak about Ethereum layer 2. As you know, there is a big blockchain called Ethereum with smart contracts, but this big blockchain is now very expensive because it's too popular, and therefore these solutions need to be updated, and it's called layer 2. There are different approaches. One of them is Polygon or Matic, and we are going to be on this Polygon Matic network, and cost of transactions is very low. The speed of transactions is very fast, so it's by far faster than on Ethereum, and this is one of the decision to be on this layer 2, because users on Ethereum on layer 1, they are searching for this. So they are crying. They are telling in the communities, guys, Ethereum is not in this state now. It's not usable because you pay for transaction €100. It's far too much, right? And on layer 2, you pay for transaction I think 1,000th of 1 cent. So this is not comparable. And we are indeed the first layer 2 IDO launchpad. Therefore, not too far from being the pioneer. We are not pioneers, right? But not far from the business.
So I have two left, right?
Yes.
Stan was using up the first one. So one very central element for us is we did a lot of research also and talked to the community. What are the pain points? and stuff like this. And the community that is participating also in these launch pools, they were a bit frustrated that everything is only based on luck, so there are pure lottery systems. And if there are restrictions for getting into pools, they are most of the time budget related. So you need to have 10,000 of the token or whatever. So our aim is to be the first fair IDO launchpad. A very bold sentence, and we don't reach that in one single step. We won't change, let's say, everything, but we will do one step at a time. So we will not be based on lottery only. So we will have a loyalty scoring system, which takes into consideration not only how many tokens you are holding, that's one out of 6 dimensions, and this your score that you are earning, let's say, over time. This can give you guaranteed access to pools. This can unlock features of our platform. You can have weighted airdrops, and your voting rights increase from in our DAO that we will in future install. So this is our first step in being really fair. And a second piece is also around transparency, what I want to mention. There are different USPs that we have in addition, but transparency is in general in the DeFi space not a very popular topic because everyone tries to hide, and DeFi world is to a certain extent a gray zone, and sometimes projects don't even disclose the team members behind,
Mm-hmm.
We try to be as transparent as possible, The full team is disclosed. We will have conditions that are not hidden. We don't make games, let's say, with our play games with our projects. So we will be as transparent in all dimensions. And I think this is also one thing that will set us apart from the competition.
So you are actually focusing on trust, which was a very popular topic in the blockchain world a few years ago, but right now in DeFi world, indeed, it is, well, not less popular, but let's say less important for the current market trends.
Yeah, exactly. There are always consolidation phases. There are always difficult phases where not everything goes into the same direction. And if you don't have a really loyal and trusted relationship to your community, it doesn't work out. They hop to another project, or they simply leave you. So therefore, for us, it's very important, and we are also very active and transparent with our community when we are communicating with them. They see that this is something different, not only marketing phrases, but also, honest opinions, and we take them serious. And with this, we want to build a very strong core community, which will definitely also don't leave us through any troubled waters, any difficult paths,
Yeah.
And this is at the end also a key success criteria, not only short term but also long term.
Exactly. So we are not trying to build just a technology. It's not our purpose. We are trying to build community and business for this community, so to say. And technology is only supporting element of this.
Okay, Kickstarter for startups, for DeFi startups. If you're a Kickstarter, then you will have both startups and investors who want to support those startups. So can you please elaborate what actually investors and startups will get out of Scaleswap, and how can they get there?
On the one hand, let's say our community, they can join, let's say, mainly our Telegram group, which is, let's say, two-way channel where it's not only news that is published, but where we also getting in touch. Also Stan and myself personally, we are also involved in the chat whenever we can. And it can be, the links to our social media can be found on our website, scaleswap.io. And the purpose of being early in is, on the one hand, We have interesting giveaways. We at the moment are ramping up the second wave of our NFT giveaway. They can learn a lot about Scaleswap itself, about how to participate in the IDO. So the first announcements are then made, let's say, in these social media channels.
I think they can also elaborate that if the startups are waiting too long to get to us, the queue will be larger. So we are fresh, we are new, we have some room for them.
So
okay.
then, why the startups that are watching this interview should join Scaleswap and use it as the #1 platform to make their IDO?
Right. The startups should come definitely to Scaleswap, because one of the key reasons is that we have the most loyal community in the space. Our people are really committed, and we have our central scale score system, what's a 300-degree loyalty scoring system. And this does not only include, let's say, loyalty to Scaleswap and our SCA token, but includes also elements that measure their loyalty to the projects that are launching on our platform. So it's a distinct advantage for them to launch on our platform, because the community will be incentivized in being loyal also to all projects that launch on our side. So that's really something that no other launchpad can offer. And I think that's also a key differentiator for the project, as well as we are a fresh launchpad. So it's now also a chance, let's say, for them to knock on our door and saying, hey, we are here, because we don't have yet, let's say, already a selected pipeline of projects for the next 3 to 4 months, like some others. We will have our methods to make sure that only high quality and suitable projects will launch on our platform. So there will be certain due diligence levels and mechanisms in place. At the end, we plan also to involve the community in the final decision which project will get the next IDO seed. So the projects also see from a tendency if they are ready yet to go for the IDO, because if they are directly preferred, let's say, with upvotes, so we plan to do that with upvotes on our page. Then it's also a good sign, or if they see, okay, we need to rework one or the other thing. So that's again a sign that our community will be very dedicated, very loyal, because they are involved in the process, which is beneficial for the projects, and the projects can benefit from the feedback gathered also from our side, but also from the community reaction. So,
and small addition,
place to go than Scaleswap.
And small addition, we will also help projects to work out their tokenomics, to polish this. We will review this from the holistic token economy approach. This is our service, what we offer to the projects in addition.
Wow, even the first part, which Ralf said, sounds quite appealing and sexy for me already, because I know that it doesn't exist yet, the guaranteed quality of backers during the IDO. But if you help also with tokenomics, that's enormous value. And it's not for advertisement, but guys, you will have all the links here in the description of the interview, the links to the website of Scaleswap, to the Telegram group, etc. Join, follow, investigate, and of course, contact the team in order to go for an IDO through the Scaleswap. Okay,
Yeah.
where do you see Scaleswap in, let's say, 3 years? 3 years is not too long time to say that it is impossible to predict, but it is definitely not the one-day show. So where do you see Scaleswap in 2.5 or 3 years time?
In 3 years, I will see Scaleswap as as the go-to platform, let's say, for blockchain-based ventures from a very early stage to let's say their IDO stage and even post IDO. But there is a lot, let's say, in between what can happen, what will happen. We even know now some things which we can't yet disclose because we have a lot in our plans, and we're already working also in parallel, not only in our version 2 on our go-to-market platform, but in parallel already on also on additional features and services. It's important for us that we don't have only roadmap items that are too long on the roadmap. So we want to feed the community and our stakeholders in a pretty frequent way, and with innovative products and services. And therefore we are aiming for a pretty high pace.
Kickstarter on blockchain.
Kickstarter on blockchain.
This is what we have as a vision, right? So in broad sense.
I first time heard about Scaleswap, I think at the end of January or beginning of February. And in March already, you were 30 times oversubscribed by your early backers from the VC world. So what was the core? Right now, it sounds like a very, very easy and smooth success story. And I believe that in few months, this success story will be widely spread over different PR, media, journals, etc. But I'm sure it was not that smooth and not that easy as it sounds from the external position. So can you please recall what was maybe the biggest challenge for each of you when you were working on the Scaleswap when nobody knew what is it actually?
Right. I think one of the most challenging parts is always the first step in getting let's say the first interested parties that you can pitch. Somehow it started already with our angel round, which went very smoothly. It was only a little angel round, and I communicated that to the team. Angel round will start to search now for suitable candidates. And what happened was right after the team meeting, several team members asked if they can participate in the angel round. And I said, okay, sure, so I don't pay you, you work for me and you give me money. Cool.
That sounds like a dream setup. Now I understand why you are advising startups. If you manage to do this with your startup.
Absolutely. Perfect, economically perfect setup. No, it was also like this, that at that early stage, that the team already had so much belief into that mission, and that we are working here on something really big, that we can make a big difference also, and that they have trust also in Stan and myself. Then the target was to get a seed funding at a later stage. At that point in time, we were also in time pressure. We did a lot on the conceptual side and still on research side. So we were a little bit under time pressure, and I didn't even finalize my pitch deck. I had the first three slides finished, and I had a very extensive Excel with my research and with conceptual stuff. and I had my first pitch then for the seed round. Yeah, in a little freestyle mode, and I thought they will cancel the call, you know. They will say, hey, this doesn't work out like this. But I started with my 3 slides and then freestyle switching to Excel. And it worked out. So there was a commitment after that first pitch for 200K. And I thought, okay, this was to that point in time exactly the amount I wanted to fill for seed funding, you know. And this was the second time when I thought, okay, this needs to be a very convincing concept. And we are working here on definitely on the right path. So it's really bullseye.
Ralf is explain the shiny side of all of these things, but you Nelly, you ask what was the difficult, right? And definitely I can count 24 hours a day spending on developing and brainstorming, challenging the concept, research and challenging again, research again, and this over months also in the work of Ralf before, so to say, before finalizing the concept. So the hard work behind this is definitely here. It might sound a bit like we had nothing and just an idea, just pitched and everything was very cool. No, it was not like this. It was a big research time before, and where we had, let's say, also luck. Let's call this luck, is the right timing. So the market was right,
and the right partners. So I think the two on that fundraising part, I think there were 2 also important factors. One was word to mouth or promotion, you know. So this went really pretty viral in a certain circles. And then having the right partners like InnMind, Shark Tank, which was a perfect opportunity for us to showcase Scaleswap and to find also really key backers for our mission. Yeah, it was the right timing. It was the right concept that was more or less bullseye. And having the right partners, and this was key to the success that we had a massive oversubscription. I think 48 hours after the first pitch, we were oversubscribed, and then we took quite a lot of time to select the right partners.
You mean after public pitch, or you mean after your first private pitch to the investor?
It was after the first pitch for the seed round. We were already oversubscribed for seed and private round after 48 hours. But we took a lot of time in speaking with our partners or potential partners, also checking on their services, value add, you know, how they can support our mission, and also to find out how convinced they are of our mission. And then it took many weeks until we really finalized then with which partners we want to go. So yeah, we really took time and had more also the long-term view and strategy in mind when making the decisions.
And just to elaborate to everyone one more time, you said you had just 3 slides and then also the Excel sheet with your tokenomics, and you were not hesitating, you were not waiting until you will have well polished, well designed pitch deck. Yeah, you just started talking to investors whom you could reach, and that's it. And that is where you've seen the first real feedback and effect already, and first commitments, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, it sounds a bit surreal, so not real, but people shouldn't get the impression that there was nothing there. You know, it was nothing prepared, let's say, in the presentation style. Mm-hmm. So this was our problem. You know,
nothing polished. Nothing
exactly. It was not polished. You know. not all elements always need to be perfect. Perfect is not always the path to reach your goal. I think it's certain weaknesses of your current situation you can also balance out with other ones. If the people think, okay, this is really a great idea, then you have some credits, with them. Or if they believe, okay, these guys have maybe a great background, I believe they can really execute a project and don't they will really deliver,
Because just two things to add here. This Excel sheet of Ralf was really interesting document with a lot of calculations, lot of graphics, lot of so it was a kind of pitch itself with hours and hours and days and days work behind this. So it's very important to understand. Just to prevent that somebody thinks he can make several formulas on Excel and it will be pitch deck. Not at all, not at all. It was really great work, great job also from Ralf's side, big preparation, and this is this big great preparation multiply right timing, multiply good idea. So.
And if I remember correctly, on that Excel sheet, you had not only the tokenomics part, but also you had different tabs with competitive analysis, with market analysis, with the research on different pricing models, business models, etc., etc. Yes, so that's very relevant to what just Stan said. And if someone listening or watching to us thinking, okay, now I will take one sheet, draft something there and go to pitch to investors, guys, it was enormous work behind.
No. Definitely nice. And it's right. After the pitch, I got a lot of requests if they can have a copy of that Excel sheet.
Did you give someone a copy?
Sorry?
Did you share the copy?
No, there was so much. No.
This is IP, Nelly. IP.
Right. This is IP. I only maybe I shared then maybe one sheet, which was token metrics or something like this, but only little parts out of it, but not the whole thing. And it's the treasury, It's where everything started.
Maybe one day when Scaleswap will be the big name on the market, you can make NFT out of this Excel sheet and make sell it to some museum of DeFi and NFT projects.
This is a great idea. Interesting.
I still have the initial version, so I think I had 16 versions or something like this, but I also have still the original one, or the first one. Maybe we can do an edition, of 16 NFTs, version 1 to version 16.
Good idea. It's really good.
Okay, really you see, we get ideas recorded, so we can come back to that a few months later and really make a big thing out of it. But guys, you reply in such a smooth and easy way. It still seems that it was not so tough. I just want to those who watch this interview to understand how crazy difficult it was, because both of you were working in parallel, working on a kind of full-time job for corporates.
Yeah, challenging, of course, right? Sleepless nights. Some nights are sleepless also now, but everybody has problems, right? So you will not find any one entrepreneur without some job problem or job, or personal, not issues, but challenges, job challenges, personal challenges. So I don't think we are too unique here, right? So it's like the way that we in efficient way manages in parallel. This is something what you can learn from your experience. So you need to work some years to to gain the skills of making things efficiently in parallel.
And it's right. It's definitely sometimes sounds a bit, we do concept and whatever, but it's to make things really happen. It's by far more than just having a concept. So you need to take care of legal structure, how this all is set up from a structural perspective. You also need to onboard a team. Stan and myself can't do everything by ourselves, so we were lucky to group together a really great and committed team, and also a fantastic advisory board, which helps us a lot. It's also the way of collaborating needs to be very good and efficient and in a trusted way. So I think there we have no friction losses at all. So between Stan and myself, but also within the whole team, that works out extremely well. And then there are at the end endless tasks. So Telegram sometimes looks like a blinking Christmas tree. So and at the end, I think Stan and myself didn't have a real free day since we
this is true.
Since we really aligned on the concept, and when we said, okay, we go for that. Since then we had no free day, and we calculate weekends included. But that's the life of an entrepreneur. If an entrepreneur thinks, I want to be maximum successful, but I want to maximize my private life at the same time, 99% it won't work. So you need to be really dedicated to what you're doing. And you need to have an environment that supports it. That's also very, very important. It's also in your personal life, teamwork, Even if I'm only doing, let's say, the dedicated project work, but if I don't help with anything else around, I need to have someone who is supporting me on with this. So and the same thing is with Stan, it's also not only being us, but also our personal situation is very important, that we have the right backing that lets us get the maximum out of us for the mission.
The important one, if we continue the topic of difficult versus easy, you mentioned how passionate you are, and I see it in your eyes, in your expressions, and you have weekly calls on Sundays where when everyone is sleeping and doing nothing in the world, and you have the weekly team calls with all the team and partners committed. But that's because right now you are in this level of drive, if I understand correctly, drive, motivation, right timing, right everything, right team, right co-founders. And it's definitely always up. And even if you sleep less, you feel more energy than usually. But I know that both of you were passing the times previously when it was the opposite, when everything went down. It was like black part of life, down times when you struggled with a lot of challenges, and it was not so positive. It was not such a great team. It was no co-founder who supports you and understands you. And I would very much appreciate if you can recall that period and maybe share some advice, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they still struggle with that. And I was myself super surprised when I've seen in different events or mastermind groups, talking with other co-founders of other startups, the main question they had in their minds is how to overcome the tough times. What will you advise to them?
I believe this question is a bit personal for everybody. So every human is different, and you cannot find a formula for everybody. So it's not possible. Speaking about me, I have some special skill. If I start something, it's really hard to drop it off, so to say. And even if it's hard times, so I am optimistic person. I know that hard times belong. So after hard times should be one good time, and I'm thinking about this like this. So it's just psychological story. I just continue, regardless how difficult this is, and I know that to create something sustainable, something great, you need to suffer a bit. I don't believe that there is lucky persons who can just do something, have luck. There are these persons, okay, we know them, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, yeah, but there are millions of other entrepreneurs who gone through hard times, tough times, they suffered, and at the end, I see the life like it should be like a zero balance. You should have your hard times and you should have your hype times, definitely. But you should continue to do what you love to do, and you should try to make your visions true. This is most important. Not to have fear, not to hide yourself. Try to continue. My advice.
Yes, I think these are very essential points. I believe it's also important, even if you are so infected from your mission, that you reflect also on that, if it's really the right mission, you know. I have no problem at all in investing years on a mission, but the success does not come yet, or in the bear market or whatever, you know. But do it for something where you are 100% convinced of, you know. And my advice is, don't work against the market. That sounds very simple, I know, but be honest to yourself if you work against the market or not, you know.
What do you mean? Can you elaborate? Because everyone will understand it different.
Right. Work against the market. It's so you have these startups which are the 1 billion idea, you know. So the next Airbnb, the next eBay, the next whatever, you know, which is completely out of the box, which is completely something new. And this is the chance is one of 1 million. So you need to be aware of that chance, you know. Other than that, there are certain areas where there is a market, there is an interest, there is a need, you know, and going into these directions is not, let's say, going against the market. So if you say, yeah, but this will be a topic sometime, or this could be a topic sometime, there could be a demand sometime for this, you know. There are too many coulds, you know, in that game. You need to do thorough research and be sure that there is also a market and a need for the product, the services, the platform, whatever you are creating. And then it's also in general nothing bad to copy certain things from others, you know. Don't you know, the whole evolution is based on copying and slightly enhancing.
Mutating.
That's evolution, you know.
Yeah,
so
don't invent the wheel, you mean. Don't invent the wheel, yes?
Don't reinvent the wheel, says.
Yeah, don't reinvent the wheel necessarily, exactly. But understand what are the pain points, what are the areas where you can be better, you know, what can be enhanced. Listen to the customers, or in the blockchain world, to the community, to the stakeholders, and then develop something new, which is maybe not that groundbreaking that you have a new protocol necessarily, you know, but that can bring extreme a high value to clients, to community, to stakeholders. But I wanted to have that first as an intro, because if you make a tick at the first thing, okay, I'm on the right mission, then never give up. If you come to a point, and when the first time when you say, oh, I'm fucked up, there is no way out, and you let yourself go, this is very dangerous. On the second day, it's getting double hard to get off the sofa, and do something. The third day, it's getting again double that hard, so you can really get into a negative circle, which brings you down. So my advice is, if it's hard, keep trying everything, every single day, and earn your destiny with your mission.
Speaking about technology, Stan, if I understand correctly, you are CTO in the setup of Scaleswap, correct? You are co-founder and CTO, while Ralf is co-founder and CEO.
Right? Exactly. So I am the CTO, taking care of the technology, and this is especially a bit pressure time for me, because we are now 3 weeks from our launch, and all these technology pieces needs to be really good matched together, and there is a lot of them, right? Like security audits, penetration testing, user testing, finding the fixing bugs. So it's many of these steps, and trying to make this all perfect, while Ralf drives the business and business development.
I just wanted to add, Stan always emphasizes in security, technology is not so important. But the thing is, technology is not so important if it works perfectly, But if there is any issue with it, then technology is very important, So therefore, it's really a balance of business and technology. And I'm really happy to work with Stan, because he's not only a genius in all technical and development areas, but at the same time also an expert in security. So this is also something what we could have put on your 3-point list that set us apart. Therefore, we also do our best, let's say, that we have a secure environment and the best man on board.
Thank you, Ralf. Thank you. But I just want to tell our best, because if I hear that somebody get hacked, being myself a security expert, I understand that it can happen to everybody. So I understand this. Nobody is 100% protected, because you can find ways. If you are smart enough, you can find ways. But we are trying to do our best, right? So we have the security by design approach. We have several independent external party audits. So it's our best. And because we are dealing some kind with swap process, right? This should be very secure. Yeah.
For those who will be watching this interview, can you elaborate a little bit more on your expertise in this sector? Because you work many years in the security field, indeed.
So I worked, so my background is in technology as physicist. So I'm not a developer. A physicist is somebody who understands a lot of topic, but is not specialist in every depth in every topic, but rather broader. And this is my background. After studying physics, I switched to work in corporates, worked in Deutsche Bank and Postbank in Germany, also in insurance companies, and always in IT and security management. So this topic comes to me from my corporate background, which also good, because I believe bringing some corporate experience in this space, in blockchain space, it's not too bad, not too bad. The big companies, big corporates, big banks, they work in compliance way. They build big organization around security, around how to make everything according to laws, to physical laws and to laws of governance. And with this mindset, I know that Ralf is as well in this, has this background. With this mindset, we are going into the space and trying to do transparent, but bit corporate. So we are, I would say, we are bit corporate guys in this space, and it's something good in my opinion.
Yeah, and while you touched the corporate topic, I remember that Ralf just recently stopped working for Novartis, also huge corporate organization. So Ralf, can you please elaborate a little bit more on your corporate experience? What did you do there? And it sounds so different with the field where you are working right now.
Oh yes, it's definitely different. So from my background, I started my career in the corporate world with Novartis, this big pharmaceutical company, for which I worked in total close to 10 years. Originally coming from supply chain management, customs, trade compliance, trade finance topics. But then pretty quickly developed into business analyst role and SAP consultant. So I was then, after some years, leading SAP implementation projects. Then I was moving to the external consultancy world. So I was working for a Deloitte spin-off and a PwC spin-off. I was also leading a service area over there, and a group of consultants. And finally, in 2012, I decided to found my own company. So my entrepreneurial career started that time. So around 9 years back. To a certain extent, a coincidence that I was ending up in the blockchain world. I was very interested, let's say, in all emerging technologies, AI, ML, deep learning, and blockchain, you know. And I was mentioning that on my LinkedIn profile, that I'm interested in these topics and that I am a startup advisor. And due to the fact that I have so many connections on LinkedIn, and it was the ICO hype time then which started, I was getting requests, endless requests. Do you want to be our ICO advisor? And I had no clue what it is, you know, to be an ICO advisor. But this brought me then to the point, okay, you need to dig a little bit deeper into that blockchain world, into ICOs and stuff like this.
I just wanted to say that in ICO Bench, ICO Holder, and other crypto-specific channels, I've seen that they all feature your profile, Ralf, as an ICO advisor, indeed, like it was your real profession or something like that. So did it help you to get prepared to launch in some aspect the Scaleswap? So this experience of advising many ICO companies in past.
Yeah, definitely. It was very helpful. It was also very helpful to be that I moved to the so-called Crypto Valley around a little bit more than 4 years or 4.5 years ago, because I was directly at the pulse, you know, to that point in time, pre-COVID, with a lot of conferences, meetups, you know, you were every second day you were meeting some people, you know. There I also built a very broad network. So it was a fantastic time. And as you said, working with a lot of ventures. So I want to emphasize that I set myself a little bit apart from these typical top ICO bench advisors. So this was never my my role, how I interpreted, let's say, being an advisor. Because there were some people which took over, I don't know, 50 projects in parallel, and this was just selling a picture on a website, you know. And I would say I still have a professional ethics, you know, exactly like Stan, you know. And if we commit to a project, I did it full time. Others were doing it part time and had 50 projects. I did it full time and I had maximum 4 projects in parallel. So I was a very hands-on advisor. I was always kind of a wingman or also right-hand man for the CEO, advising in all strategic topics, management topics. And this is what I was doing. And it was, as you said, a very good preparation, if you want, for Scaleswap.
When you continue advising startups even now while in parallel building Scaleswap, correct? Or you kind of put it on pause?
Theoretically, I put it on pause. But I have to say I am advisor to one venture, and it's Metis DAO, also a project on layer 2. And it's a second topic that's very close to my heart, DAOs, where I see a huge potential. And we want to, or we will transform our organization also into a DAO. And I was searching for the perfect framework for doing this, advising them. And I'm proud because I'm on a very little advisory board together with Meda, CTO from Casper Labs, which I know for years. And it's a little like a circle with Casper Labs, also Metis DAO, and with Scaleswap. So we support each other also pretty well, and in a complementary way. So it's not only advising, it's also helping each other, you know, with a partner project. But this is at the moment the only thing I'm doing in terms of advisory. The other 99% are, let's say, my focus on our mission with Scaleswap.
Stan, coming back to your background, when I know that you're also in parallel with your corporate background and corporate activities, you were a strong believer of blockchain and DeFi world for years before now. And you already had a project you were involved. So can you please recall the first time you dealt with the tokenization or crypto topic?
Well, I was not only corporate guy, already a student. I had also one company. It was a web design company, web programming company. It was 15 years ago. So I had some entrepreneurial background, and it was always in my heart to do something reasonable. And as I first time come in touch with blockchain technologies, it was 2016. I was fascinating because I was working in banks. I knew about transactional problems. I knew about middleman problems, so that banks should synchronize themselves. And I thought, okay, blockchain, you can do this decentralized only by technology, and this should be the game changer. Then I started to read. I read that, for example, Milton Friedman predicted Internet of Money. So after Internet of People, it will be Internet of Money, and or Internet of Value Transfer without middlemen. And this sparked me so much that I started to look for a use case. And indeed, 2017, I found one very good use case. It was, I found a startup. The name was PhotoChain, or is still PhotoChain. It deals with saving the license of a digital assets, in case of PhotoChain, a photography on the blockchain. And indeed, it's a kind of NFT 0.1. So with the same purpose, you save the license, because NFT is a kind of license. And you save this in a smart contract on blockchain. And during this time, we met with Ralf. Ralf was advisor on PhotoChain. It was first project for me. We did very good, I would say. Our problem was the project was started in this crypto winter time, so on the fallen age. And this was the main problem of the project. It was a very good project with a very big team, but unfortunately, bad timing. Nevertheless, I continued to stack on PhotoChain, and with a very small team, we did for 2 years. We finalized the marketplace, the software. We expanded to the real market. We started to compete with Getty and Shutterstock. It it turns out to be very hard, but for now, there is one small other team which continue PhotoChain, so I'm not so involved now.
Then you just mentioned about the right timing and wrong timing. And yeah, obviously these days when we are recording this interview, May 2021, market is overheated. Deals are closing within not even weeks, but days and hours. And projects, they get a lot of funding very fast. But there are different, well, not gossips, but how do you say it? Theories on the market. Some people say that it will last very, very short time. And literally in few months, we will see the crypto winter coming again. Others prognose or forecast that the good market trend will continue until the end of the year. Do you have any insights or any analysis on that? What do you think?
Your tenant is completely right. I hear the same from different angles, and nobody knows this. Nobody knows what will come. And this is, by the way, showing that this whole space is decentralized, because you have so many different stakeholders which are not directly interacting with each other, and with different wishes, right? It's unpredictable what will happen. Unpredictable. So in my opinion, it can happen in this winter, or the decrease in hype can happen in 2 months. It can be in 1 year even. As soon as the COVID time is over and people will go more outside, will more travel, more spending on physical assets rather than digital goods. It can end the hype of the market. But until this time, we know, so everybody of us knows, it can go for 1 year, can go for 2 years. So, but nevertheless, regardless if it's hype market or not hype market, blockchain will stay. So as technology, it's very widely adopted now. If you look on Visa adopting blockchain, PayPal in US started with accepting cryptocurrencies. Elon Musk with Tesla bought a lot of Doge coins. I'm not the fan of this, but with this statement, he raised interest to the whole market. Therefore, I see the bright future for this, let's call this decentralized transfer of value.
Ralf, do you have the same opinion, or you have some special secret knowledge on the time frame?
It's hard to predict, but as Stan said, blockchain is here to stay. Cryptocurrencies are here to stay. There will always be good times, bad times, hype times, or not hype times. But I believe with the adoption that we are seeing, and this was a missing piece in the past, like Stan said, involvement of Visa, but PayPal, but also others accepting, for example, Bitcoin as methods of payment, and also a lot of institutional investors saying, okay, I'm going in with 1%, 2%, 3% of our total managed assets into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, into some coins. This has an extreme positive also influence on it. So I don't believe that we will see anytime soon, let's say 90% dip or something like this, like in crypto winter. I really don't think that, but I think we could also enter into a certain sidewards trend, so that it's not directly hype, but that it's also not extremely crashing down, because the adoption is ongoing, and more institutional money from traditional institutions are going into crypto. I think it's important also for us as an IDO launchpad to always be very close to the trends, to the community, and that we identify that early enough, and that we are able to not only to follow the trend, but to a certain extent even being the trend, you know.
Exactly.
That's great that
Very
you
well.
both elaborate so much on the adoption aspect. And can you please tell me honestly, how do you lead to the adoption of crypto and tokens in your life? I mean, besides, in addition, outside Scaleswap, outside of your activities, like, for example, working as an advisor in DeFi or crypto startups, how do you use or adopt blockchain and crypto in your everyday life?
For example, where I'm living, the personal income taxes can be paid in Bitcoin, you know. So it's finding its path slowly also into the day-to-day life. You can do certain purchases, you know, also even of IT equipment. I didn't know that, but Stan told me, in cryptocurrencies. But for me, let's say it's more the trading aspects, which is also, let's say, integrated, that you that you take care, let's say, of your crypto assets. The problem I see is still there are a lot of solutions which have the potential for real mass adoption and that they are a real part of our life, but the technology is still too much in foreground.
Not only technology, also compliance and regulations. For
Right.
example, I am living in Germany, and the situation is much different than in the Switzerland. You cannot pay here taxes in Bitcoin. You cannot do so much with cryptocurrencies in Germany, and therefore I see big room for new projects. Lot of new projects which must come to make this mass adoption happen. As soon as you can buy your bread for Bitcoins, this is the real mass adoption. This is the real mass adoption. But we are still maybe 5 to 10 years from this point. Maybe earlier, who knows?
We spoke a lot about the opportunity of DeFi market and about the good big momentum which exists right now, momentum for Scaleswap in particular and the whole market in general. But that's very, all these are obvious things for those who are already inside this DeFi, crypto and blockchain world. Today, my son, who is 16 years old, registered on Scaleswap and is planning to participate as your backer in your upcoming IDO, which I also think is a sign of a very big FOMO created and a lot of recognition around. And can you please elaborate? So explain the potential, what actually is the big mission of Scaleswap for those who are not yet into crypto and DeFi world, for common people, entrepreneurs, investors in traditional world who do not understand DeFi and crypto, but who want to understand Scaleswap big mission.
Right. Not so easy, because already talking about Bitcoin, let's say, it's pretty challenging for someone who is not inside it, and decentralized finance, where we also belong to, it's even a niche within a complicated topic. So therefore, not so easy. I think you can only compare it with what decentralized finance is if you relate it, let's say, to services that also exist outside of the blockchain world, you know. So a lot of what DeFi is doing is in general in the banking or finance area in a centralized way. You still need to have a little special expertise, let's say, how the things are working. if you're having your bank account, you know what you have to do. You have your way of logging into your account. You don't need to take care of security. It is, and you know what you can expect. You know, you have the office hours. In crypto world, it doesn't exist. You have 24/7. Everything is possible at any point in time. You know, and this is, let's say, for the explanation. But to enter the space is not yet that mature, I would say, that everyone can easily enter. You should know what a wallet is, for example. So a wallet is like an account on a bank, but it's in your responsibility. No one gives you an insurance of what happens. If a hack happens, no one gives you your coins back, you know. So you need to take care by yourself of the security of that. And without knowledge, so you need to spend quite some hours to get familiar with some basic principles of the blockchain world itself. What is a wallet? How get I access to things? And then I think it's possible to enter, let's say, into that space, and also going onto platforms and getting an overview what all exists. But it's not that easy that you can just say, yeah, go to that website and then you know everything.
Yeah, I would add also that as somebody from outside, you need to educate yourself first. Yes, you need to understand very basic what is blockchain, how Ralf said, what is wallet, how I make transactions, what are the differences, and these concepts you can learn very fast. I don't think it's rocket science. Just concept-wise, it's pretty simple, I would say, concept-wise. Not to every depth. You don't need to know to every depth. And now everybody, so projects like us will come into the game. We will not drive mass adoption immediately, but we will go to the step. As Ralf said, it's the very beginning, step by step. There are other projects which are more in mass adoption than we. For example, projects which will offer merchants to accept cryptocurrencies on their website, right? These projects are more in mass adoption markets. And if you see on every website some cryptocurrencies accepted, then you start to think, what are cryptocurrencies? And you educate yourself and you come to this. So these projects are more for mainstream than our project. Then there are gaming platforms with tokenized coins, what you can exchange. A lot of people, and your son also play, I believe, some games. And from the concept, no? Concept-wise,
we know, but this teenager, yes, non-stoppable.
Yeah, exactly. And as my daughter, so for her to have some coins and to buy for this virtual coin something in her game, it's something natural. Also, she's 10-year-old and she don't know what blockchain is. This tokenization and having digital assets is the next generation. We are making this through, and they will use this, and we as well.
And before we finish the interview, guys, can I ask you also, whom do you follow in this sector? So to remain motivated, or to remain, to keep an eye on the most relevant, interesting, clear information on the DeFi sector. Whom do you follow in social media? Whom you recommend to follow? I know that Ralf is already an influencer himself. You have more than 30,000 of followers on LinkedIn, which is quite a lot, and
Right.
a lot of people are liking each of your posts and following each of your words. Stan is not so active in social media yet, but I'm very curious. Whom do you guys follow?
It's actually a pretty high number. I couldn't highlight, let's say, very specific people, to be honest, or organizations. I'm following quite a lot, and to be honest, I'm also doing quite a lot with Google alerts. So I'm setting alerts for certain words, you know, in Google. And when these keywords appear, I'm getting automatically the news daily, regarding them. So it's a little bit my system to have the finger on the pulse, and to be informed. Yes, but I could not, let's say, now specify really specific people. I'm following quite a lot, but equally important for me, let's say, and not everyone is also posting always the most relevant content, so it really depends also on that.
I just want to ask, have you seen this advertisement of eToro, where one guy is following and researching, and another guy is just following the other guy who is researching? Very fun advertising. So I'm this other guy. I'm following Ralf on this. I follow with Ralf because I know this is really one of the best deep thinkers in this space. Therefore, I just do this. I mean, not following Ralf himself, but his research.
I got your point. So everyone who does not know whom to follow in this sector, please follow Ralf. I did not want to make this interview, but I will include the link to Ralf's LinkedIn. And feel free to follow Ralf, who is following the right people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else you want us to cover on this particular interview, or we can finalize for today and see how can we structure it?
From my side, not, because I don't have in mind, let's say, this too salesy stuff, with IDO or something like this. People should get to know us, develop more trust, more awareness, being interested in checking out our social media channels, maybe checking out the community. This is for me the main thing, the very IDO specific ones. I think you also don't. It wouldn't be a match to that interview and to the style.
No, I really agree to Ralf. So I think it's perfect like it is now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So it's really, it's exactly how it should look like.
Guys, thank you very much for your time today and for sharing your insights and your personal stories and your personal visions. And you know what? I really believe in the big success of Scaleswap, not only because I know both of you and trust in both of you very much, but also because I know that each of you has his personal entrepreneurial spirit, entrepreneurial DNA, and a huge story behind. And right now, you are building an ecosystem for technological startups and new generation of entrepreneurs whom you want to support. And your experience, your personal path will definitely help you there. So I believe that if you continue sharing your wisdom, your skills, and your expertise with other entrepreneurs and startups, that is where you have this super product market fit, as you call it, and this super match to the needs of the audience. So I wish you great luck, and I hope to see a lot of unicorns coming out of Scaleswap incubation, and great success to everything that you still plan to execute so far.
Thank you very much for your kind words, Nelly. It was really a pleasure that you were doing this interview with us. Yes, it was fantastic. Can only say thank you very much.
And
thank you, Ralf.
Very big thanks giving from my side. I also enjoyed this interview. It was freestyle. It was not biased, and it's also cool. So I believe we are real here, and this is important. And thank you for making this through, Nelly.